2, we're just adding fractions on a number line. That's all we're doing, okay? This first part is just like the exit ticket. So it says show each expression on a number line, okay? So I'm going to start with the number line. Now look how big I made it. You probably need to make it that at least that long. I kind of want a straight one. There we go. So 2/5 plus 1/5 equals what, boys and girls? 3/5. Okay? So 3/5. McKenna, is that more or less than 1 whole?
Less.
Good. What would 1 whole be? McKenna? 5/5. Good. So what's my denominator here? Adriel, what's my denominator?
Denominator?
The 5. Okay. Denominator downstairs. So how many tick marks do I need?
4.
4. Always 1 less than the number. Okay? So that should give me 5 equal spaces. Now, all I have to do is show, are you listening?
Yeah.
Show 2/5 and then show 1/5. Now watch my little trick for doing this and not losing my place, okay? So for 2/5, I'm going to go 1, 2, then draw it back to 0. That way I don't lose my place, okay? Then put 2/5 above it. Okay, do that now. Then I'm showing 1/5 more. And who remembers the last thing I need to do and circle it? Elizabeth, do you remember?
Yeah, you have to write the fraction on the bottom and circle it.
Good. Now, how many of you that were gone yesterday actually watched the video? Clayton did. Adriel has watched these. Aiden, you did yours too? Great. So you won't be behind, okay? If you were gone and you haven't watched the video, like Carson, if you're confused when we get to the end of this, then I'm just going to have you watch the video before you do the exit ticket, okay? All right. So that's A. Let's do B now. B's a little different, but not much.
Have we done?
We did this yesterday in class, okay? So 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. What's the answer?
3/3.
3/3 or 1 whole. Okay? So the end marks on the number line are pretty easy to figure out, aren't they? 0 and 1. Thirds. If I divide it into thirds, so Lynn, how many tick marks do I need?
1.
That'd be halves. Alex? 2. Remember, it's always 1 less than the number. 1 less than the denominator. Okay, so this is quite simple. Are you watching? So this is 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. All right, go ahead and do that now. And your answer, could we circle it all this time?
Yeah.
I think so. That's the whole answer right there. Okay, you have 2 on your exit ticket that are very similar to what we did here. Both of them actually are something large and then something small, okay? All right, so let's take a look at C and D. 3/10 plus 3/10 plus 3/10. 9/10. 9/10, Jasmine. Is that more or less than 1 whole? So if it's less than 1 whole, 0 and 1 are my end marks.
Yep.
What's the denominator? 10. So how many tick marks is that? 9. Were you going to say 9? Okay. Here's an easy way to do 10. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
So divide it in half. It'll be 5 and 5. So 5 is just 4 tick marks, right? And then 4 tick marks again on that half.
Oh.
Are you writing? Did you already do it? Uh-huh. Okay. You can talk. All right. So 3/10. Watch me. You know, if I count over 3 and then try and find 3 again, it's kind of hard. So I count over 3, then draw it back to 0. That's 3/10. Watch me one more time. 1, 2, 3. Draw it back to where I started. That's 3/10.
4.
And 1, 2, 3. And my answer is
9, 10.
9/10 and circle it. Okay? All right. So this is 2 copies of 3/4 plus 1/4. Okay? First of all, what did they forget here? Parentheses. And I want to change this. I want to change it to repeated addition so it's easier to do my hops. So Elizabeth, if I'm going to need repeated addition here, what would I start with?
3/4
Plus
equals 6/4
plus 1/4
equals 1/4
equals,
8.
oops, now I wrote what you said. 7/4, right? Okay, so 7/4, is that more or less than 1 whole?
More.
More. So, is it more than 2?
No.
What would 1 whole be? 4/4. What would 2 wholes be?
8/4.
8/4, okay? So we're below 8/4. So I'm going to have 2, 0, 1, and 2. Those are my whole numbers. What is my denominator?
4.
4. How many tick marks do I need? 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/4. Okay? So watch me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 1.
Don't you have to put a fraction?
I do. My answer is
7/4.
7/4. Okay? Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the exit ticket. We're going to get those set up together so that you can be successful on the first 2. Okay, so this says, show each expression on a number line and solve. Is that what we just did?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start by figuring out the answer. What is it? 7/5. Okay, so draw your number line.
Oh.
And 7/5, is that more or less than 1 whole? More. Is it more than 2?
No.
What would 2 be?
10.
10/5, okay? So we have 0 and 2,
And
1 in the middle, okay? What is your denominator?
5.
5. Okay, so you'll need 4 tick marks. Now, here's what I want you to do. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
I want you to hop to 5/5, label that above, then hop 2/5 more. You'll write your answer of 7/5 at the bottom. Do this one now. Let's look at B. 6/3 plus 2/3. What's the answer to that?
8/3.
8/3. Okay, so draw your number line.
This is close.
8/3, is that more or less than 1 whole?
More.
More. Okay, what would 1 whole be?
3/3.
Okay, what would 2 wholes be? 6/3. What would 3 wholes be?
9/3.
So we need to go all the way to
3.
3. Okay, so 1 whole you said was 3/3. Might be a good idea to label those whole numbers. The second
6/3.
6/3, and then you said 9/3. That's easy, you just count by 3, 6, 9. Okay, so what's my denominator?
3.
3. So 2 tick marks between each whole number. Okay, so now all you have to do, and you need to do 6/3 first, hop to 6/3, then add 2 more. Do the 6/3 first. Hop to 6/3, then go 2 more. Don't forget to write your fractions above your bunny hops and the answer below. Okay, yesterday we did a little walk down memory lane. Do you remember that? We did some arrays. Okay, so I'm going to draw arrays for each of these, and it'd be a good idea if you do it with me, just over to the side, okay? So take a look at the numerator because that's the only one we're looking at right now. The numerator is 6. What array could I draw for 6?
2 rows of 6.
I could do 2 rows of 3, or I could do 3 rows of 2. So these are 2 different arrays, aren't they?
Yep.
Okay? Now, the directions say express each fraction as the sum, so that means we're going to add, of 2 or 3 equal fractional parts. So we're going to add parts. What parts could I add for 6? 2 plus 2 plus 2, or 3 plus 3. Now let's all choose the top one, okay? So for 6, I'm going to add 2 plus 2 plus 2. Notice I'm ignoring the denominator right now. It's not important. It doesn't change, and we're just repeating the top number for now. So how would I make this a multiplication problem?
2 times 3.
You're really close.
2 7s.
3 copies of, what's your fraction?
2 7s.
2 sevenths. So 3 copies of 2 sevenths equals what?
6 7.
So 6 sevenths. Is that more or less than 1 whole?
Less.
Less. So we're done. Okay? We're done with that. So here's what you have to do. Draw your array, repeated addition, multiplication, write the answer.
Okay.
Think you can handle that?
Yep.
Let's try it over here. So 3 equal signs and 9. This is one of the easy arrays, isn't it? It's the same if I turn it sideways even. It's 3 groups of 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and draw it. Do you see where I drew it? I think you should have room right there. Okay. So now, all I have to do is separate my 9. And what did I say it's going to be? 3 plus 3 plus 3. Does my denominator even matter right now?
Nope.
No. All we're doing is repeated addition of the numerator. So how many copies of 3/2 do I have?
3 copies.
3 copies of. That's my multiplication. So I've got repeated addition, multiplication, write the answer. So 9/2 is the answer, correct?
Yep.
But
Mixed number.
is that less or more than 1 whole?
More than
More. So Elizabeth is right. It's a mixed number. The easiest way to figure out the mixed number is to do a long division problem. So everybody write that over to the side right now. 2 times something.
4.
4. 2 times 4 equals
8.
8. So 4, and then I take my remainder, put it on top of my divisor. So 9/2 equals 4 1/2. And life is good.
And easy.
Okay, let's do the next two. Remember, we're only looking at the numerator. So 12. Let's get your equal signs on there first. Okay, 12. What arrays could I make for 12?
4 and 3.
4 and 3?
6 and 2.
Or 6 and 2? Which one do you want to try?
4 and 3.
I don't want to draw 6 2s.
4
4 3s?
Yeah.
Okay, or 3 4s. 4 3s. That'll be good. And then circling it helps me with my repeated addition. So there's your array. So this will be 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So I'm going to have 4 fractions there. Does the denominator change?
No.
Nope. Okay. So how many copies of 3/10 do I have?
12, 7. 3.
No, I don't want to know the answer. I want to know how many copies I have.
4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So 4 copies of 3/10. So we have repeated addition, multiplication, write the answer. Is that going to be a mixed number? Don't tell me what it is.
Yes.
Is it going to be a mixed number? Okay, here's one way to figure it out. Because it's so close, this way's easier than long division, okay? What would 1 whole be?
10 tenths.
Okay, 10/10 plus
2.
2/10. So that equals
12 tenths.
1 and
2 tenths.
2/10. Okay, now guess what? We need to simplify 2/10.
Ooh.
Now wait a minute, I put a new poster up for you, so I want you to look at it. Here's the best order to try things when you need to simplify. Is it half? No. So I have to go down to number 2. Can you divide by 2?
Yes.
Can I divide the top and the bottom by 2?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do it right now.
So 1.
So just a minute, write it down like this. Rewrite your 1 so you don't forget. What's 2 divided by 2?
1.
1. What's 10 divided by 2?
5.
What's my answer?
1 and 1/5.
1 and 1/5. Okay? All right, let's take a look at 27/5. This one I think I'm going to use long division to figure out the mixed number since it's so far apart, okay? So 27. What array can I make for 27?
7 and 3.
Well, you're close.
Oh no, 9 and 3.
9 and 3. So let's do 3 rows of 9. Don't you agree? Because I don't really want to write 9 3s. And then go ahead and circle. So what will I add together for this one? 9 plus 9 plus 9. Does the denominator change?
No.
No. Okay. Now, your multiplication sentence. Arturo, you want to give it a try? What are you going to write? How many copies of 9/5 do I have?
3.
3 copies of. So 3 times what?
9/5.
9/5. Good. Okay. Now, we're going to try long division for this one. The further apart the numerator and the denominator get, the more often this works best. But see, 10/12 was so close together, I could do that in my head, couldn't I? Okay, so 5 times what?
5.
5. 5 times 5 is
25.
25. 7 minus 5. So take your remainder, put it on top of the divisor, and it's 5 and 2/5. Okay? This is what we do on the second part of the exit ticket. Okay? So let's go get that all set up. So exit ticket. Yeah. Okay. So take a look at this. It's the exact same thing. The first equal sign is repeated addition. The second equal sign is multiplication, copies of. The third equal sign is the answer. By the way, 6/9. Is that more or less than 1 whole?
Less.
Less. Now, the array for 6 might help you. Okay. Over here, it's the exact same thing. Repeated addition, multiplication, write the answer. By the way, is 15/4 more or less than 1 whole? More. Okay, so my array for 15. Any ideas?
5 plus 5 plus 5?
Oh, I like it. Or you could do 3 5 times, couldn't you?
Yeah. I really want to do that.
Me neither, Aiden. So I've helped you pretty much as I can. On B, you're going to need a mixed number.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm even going to write that here. Mixed
Number.
number.